So this is a quick tutorial about using selections and a little bit of color grading and a little bit of transparency work to integrate an object into a scene. So I've got my New York street scene here. I just copied and pasted that in. I'm going to go back to Safari and I've got this image of a whale that I want to add in. So I'm going to copy that image. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to paste it in. Control V or Command V if you're using a Mac. So I paste it in and you can see it's in there on its own layer. I'm going to go Edit, Free Transform. I'm going to move this out so I can see a corner, and I'm going to shift and drag, and I let go of the mouse before I let go of the shift so I can kind of maintain proportions here. I'm going to get smaller than I need so I can see the whole thing. Once I've got it where I want, I just press enter to accept that transformation. So now what I want to do is I want to get rid of everything but the whale. So there's a couple of ways I could do it. I could use the rectangle and just kind of select a big chunk of it, press Control X or Command X, and I could do it here, Control X, and that's gotten rid of most of it. So, but what I want to do is the shape I'm trying to get rid of isn't a big rectangle; it's a very complex shape with these lines around it. So I could use the polygon lasso and just draw my points all the way around, but they're all straight lines going from one to the other. There isn't a straight line on this object; it's an organic thing, so it doesn't have straight lines. So what I'm going to do is use the magic wand. If you can't find the magic wand, just press W on your keyboard and it'll come up. So the magic wand, what it does is when I click on this gray space that I want to get rid of, it'll select one pixel and then it'll spread out, selecting all the pixels that are the same color as that first one until it hits a barrier. So the edge of the whale will hopefully be that barrier. I think it defaults to 32 as what's up here called tolerance. And tolerance is, you see there's a light gray here and an even lighter gray here. The higher the tolerance, the more likely it is to be that that color and that color are the same, and it'll select them both. But also, if it goes high enough, it'll think that color and the lighter part of the whale are the same. So let's click it and see what it does. So you can see, if I zoom in on this, you can see this moving line around it here. That's all the bits that it's selected. You can see it stops there. It's made a decision that this color and this color are different. But also you can see it's crept into the fin of the whale a bit there. So I'm going to deselect that. And I'm going to bring my tolerance down to about, let's say 50. Try it again. And now you can see it's only selected this bit here. But if I hold the Shift key down, I can add to that. I can add there. And you can see the line of this selection is right up against the edge of the whale. So that's great. That's what I want. Get rid of that shadow too. So now my line is right on the edge of the whale. But basically, I've got the entire background selected. So I'm just going to say Edit, Cut, or Control X. So now when I zoom out, Command minus or Control minus if you're on a PC. There's my whale cut out and in the scene that I want it to be in. So I can see that the color of this whale is a bit more vivid than the color around. It's a bit kind of washed out, kind of light, very overcast day. Not a lot of sunlight illuminating the colors. Even the red of the flags it's strong, but it's if it was a bright sunny day, it'd be really strong. So everything's a bit grey and kind of mid-tones, whereas this is very contrasty. So what I'm going to do is I'm on the layer that has the whale on it, and I can see that down there, whale, and I'm just going to take out a few of these windows. Don't need any of those. Oh wait, yeah. I'm going to go back to just switch on a few things. I want layers. Oh, why has it done that? That's an odd one. I want color. I want swatches. And I'll just get rid of the rest. I want history, actually. Okay. So let's carry on working on this. So here's my layers, and you can see I've got whale, street. Spell that right? No, it's asking me to want to enable dictation. No. So just in here. What's off this keyboard? There you go, street. Okay, so I'm going to go to the layer that has the whale on it. I'm going to say image. Before I do that, let's get that up to full screen. So Control or Command 0 will fill the screen with it, or you can go View, Fit on Screen. You can see there that's the symbol for Command on a Mac, but it'll be Control Okay, so with this one, I'm going to say image, adjustments, hue and saturation. Let's see what that does. I'm going to bring the saturation down a bit. Up here, sorry. Let's bring it down to nothing. And you can see it just goes to black and white. But I don't want the color to be that strong. I want it to be a hint of color, but nothing too strong. Okay, so last step, I'm going to make another layer. And I'm going to get a paintbrush. I'm going to get black paint. I'm going to make sure that it's a soft brush. You can see it. It's got that fuzzy kind of edge around it. And I'm just going to draw a very bad shadow on the bottom of the ground here. I'm going to start, I'm going to assume that the light, it's not coming from any particular source. You can't see really many shadows. There's a shadow there on the bin, so it looks like the light is kind of coming from behind the whale, like so from up this direction, but a bit further back. And so the shadow, in theory, should be about here. But let's just put it directly underneath the whale. So I'm just going to draw, this is going to look bad until I make it look a little bit better. So you have to think of how the shadow looks from the top down. So I'm going to do a little bit out there for the tail, and then a little bit at the sides for the fin, and more bulk for the body. It looks awful. I'm not saying that this looks well. But what I do is I take the layer, I drop its opacity down, and I just give a hint of it there. So that kind of anchors it in the scene a little bit, I suppose. So the other thing we could do with the whale layer is we can go image, adjustments, and curves. Now curves represents the darkest part of the image up to the brightest part. So I tend to put a point there and a point there. So that means when I grab this one to increase the bright parts, you can see that the dark parts don't get brought up either, because this point is stopping them. Anything below that is kind of held in place by this anchor, if you like. Whereas I just want to bring in a bit of brightness into this, or lightness. And you can see the preview over here, before and after. I think that looks a little better. I'm going to okay that. And that's it. That's how you introduce using selections of Magic Wand to kind of remove background from a piece and just add an element into another element. So if we were to go back and get an image of, let's say, and this is the reason I did my search with white background is so it'd be easier to kind of remove the background, white background. So let's see, let's take this guy here. Copy him, copy the image. Back in here, I'm going to Command V to paste. I'm going to use the Magic Wand to remove him from the background. And you can kind of see that the lines are catching all the way around here. And I'm going to press Command X, or I can just go Edit, Cut. There he is. His shadow's there, so I can use the eraser tool here to just get rid of that. And now I just have to scale him. So I'm going to say Edit, Free Transform, Control T or Command T, whichever you prefer. Let's try to figure out what looks the right scale. Does that look right? Yeah, I think that looks right. So you can introduce, and you can see I've got the bit under his arm there, so I can press W again, get that bit, Control X or Command X, or you can go Edit, Cut. Yeah, there he is. And again, he looks a bit bright, so this is the layer that he's on. Guy. And I'm going to say Image, Adjustments, Curve, and add in my points. A little darker, just a bit more contrasty, I think. And then I will Image, Adjustments, desaturate him a little bit. So giving him a bit more contrast. And now I want to drop out the saturation, the intensity of the color to kind of match the overcast day. Because if we go too far, see the way his shoes are very orange and very vibrant there. They probably look a bit more muted on a day like that. So okay, and that's it. I call it Man Falling at Sight of Whale. That's part of my new series. If anyone hears that terrible dad joke, just let me know that I know you've seen all the way to the end of the video. All right, thanks very much.